Hi, good, what is it? Good morning or good afternoon? Well, it's good afternoon here in Jamaica. And today I'm going to help you to make pickled peppers. This is a favorite in Jamaican cuisine. We usually eat it with fried fish, but you can eat it with other things. So these are the ingredients you'll be using. I've pre-made some of them, but it will be carrots, hot pepper, scotch bonnet, habanero. If you don't have access to any of those, then I would recommend chili peppers or jalapenos. But if you can get your hands on some scotch bonnet peppers, we have different types. We have the really hot chocolate ones. This is really, really hot. And these are from my garden, my vegetable garden. There are different types. Likely, depending on where you live, you may have access to habaneros, and those are fine. They're not as hot as the scotch bonnets. So I've pre-done some of these, I've pre-cut them. Can you imagine us cutting this in? Nah, it's too much work. So let me start, or go ahead with the onions. Oh, so wait, hold on. So it's going to be onions, carrot, the hottest pepper you have access to. We're going to use salt, something we call pimento or allspice berry. If you don't have access to that, then you can use cloves, whole cloves. A little sugar, which I have prepared. White vinegar, or you can use apple cider vinegar, whatever vinegar you have access to, but the stronger one. I'm using the white cane vinegar. I usually like to use the, I'm going blank. I usually use the apple cider vinegar. Okay, so these are what we'll be using. We're going to heat the vinegar for a little bit, but let's get started. Onion. So I use one medium or one small onion. So maybe in some countries this would be a small. So let's say one medium, one small onion, and that's what I'm using. You can use as much as you want, but the star really is the hot pepper. Oh, so let me show you what I'm doing. I'm not that good with knife techniques, so bear with me. And because I'm cutting the onion whole, it's a little bit precarious, okay? So I'm cutting them in circles. You can cut them in wedges, but they have to be not thick wedges, because you're pickling them and you're gonna like take a few out and put them on your fish or whatever meat dish or vegetable dish if you're a vegetarian. Okay, so that's it. And what we're going to do, actually, we're not going to put them in like this. We're going to actually separate them like this. All right, so onions are done. Let me go to the, you know what? Let's do this last because it's hot. Okay. All right. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can feel the effects of the onions right now. Whoa. Whew. I'm not crying. Believe me, I'm not crying. So I want to cut these as small, as thin as I can, but not too thin. So you can see how thin I'm cutting them. Not too thin. Oh, I can, oh, this onion is really doing a number on my eyes. How are you guys getting along? Good? Okay. I love this, and I learned how to make pickled peppers when I was pretty young. I had access to the kitchen when I was about 8 years old. My grandmother allowed me. I kind of started with frying an egg, and then I graduated to doing other things. I remember when I don't remember how old I was, but I was definitely under 12 years old. And I decided to make a one-pot dish. And what was it again? I think, oh, no, let me tell you about this one. So I decided to make a fish dish, or had made a fish dish. Okay, I'm talking too much. I need to look. So I had made a fish dish, right? And I remember growing up seeing my grandmother cooking fish, and she put like lemon wedges in it, or lemon slices, or lime slices. And I decided I'm going to make a beef dish. And I decided to put lemon slices in it. Well, that was the worst dish I ever made. I never forgot it. But my dad was like, "Oh, this is good." He was so complimentary about my awful dish. But I was really encouraged to, cook. It's something I enjoyed ever since I was a child. I love following recipes. So and now I'm cutting this beautiful pepper. Look at that. I mean, if this was a fruit, which it is, I would eat it, but I'm not a sade. I'm not a masochist. And I'm sure none of you will say this. So I'm cutting it across, but you could cut it thin. They look so much better when they're cut across. When you have them in the bottle. So these are the bottles I'm going to put in the jars. I have washed them and I have sterilized them with hot water. Then I'm going to heat the vinegar and put the vinegar in this and then add all of these things. So, okay, let me continue cutting this. The knife is not very sharp. I need to sharpen my knife. A dull knife is more dangerous than a sharp knife. Of course you know that. I think you all know that. Okay. It was so hot. Now, I would suggest wearing gloves. Don't be like me. I may not be a masochist, but I kind of like to go on the side of danger. That's it, done. Okay, this part is finished. Let's put this aside. Now, how much vinegar? So I'm using 2 jars. And what I'm going to do is fill these to a certain point. This is really hot. So let me use something else. I'm going to use my chopsticks to portion them out. So I'm going to have to assume that I'll be using about half the amount of vinegar in the containers. So I'm pouring approximately half. I'm going to put these, pour these into a pot and heat it on the oven. On the stove rather. I won't show you this, but pour it in a pot, turn on the flames, and let it simmer for a little bit. You just want it hot. You don't want it boiling. So let's get started. So I'm just going to try to do this as evenly as possible. We'll make sure they're different colors. These are from my garden. I'm so happy to be growing them. Get some of the chocolate peppers in. Put in both containers. So as I said, we usually use this pickled pepper, eat it with fish, fried fish, steamed fish, but you can put it on barbecued meat, whatever you want to put it on. There are no rules. I mean, I put it on almost everything. And I've done different types of pickles. Now, as I said, you may be in a country where you don't have access to some of these ingredients. I think most persons will have access to carrots. This is a simple version. We sometimes will put choyate or I think it's called Christophine. We call it chocho. So sometimes that goes in also, but the simple version, and I wanted to make sure it was colorful, would be carrots, get that nice orange color. Let's put some of those onions in. I'm gonna have to separate the onions. So I'm just separating them. So we have the individual rings. Always have backup tissues around. You never know when you might touch it. Sometimes watch hot ones. What do you know about Jamaican cuisine? What have you seen on the internet? What have you eaten? Have you eaten any? What have you wanted to try? So what I'll be teaching for the most part are like condiments and It needs to taste good. I'm just gonna shove. Yeah, the carrots are gonna be a problem. Get some peppers on top. Yeah, I'm touching the peppers. Didn't I say I wasn't gonna touch the peppers? Yeah. Masochist much? Okay. Shove them down. Get some of the brown ones in here. How much time do we have left? I can't see anything. All right, so let me know what you would love to learn how to cook. Are you planning to visit Jamaica? Have you been to a Jamaican restaurant? Will you be visiting one? Okay. I think that's as much as I can shove in there. Okay, so I just use a jar from some other product, and you can still see the beauty of it. Look at that. So if you use chili peppers, try to get some green ones, some red ones. I'm not sure what colors they are in. If you can get a variety of chili peppers, get whatever peppers you can get. I lived in Japan for a while, so I had to make do with what I had access to. Habanero, jalapenos, chili peppers, and I just put everything in it, and it was good enough for me. I couldn't find cane vinegar, so I used apple cider. You just have to adjust, don't worry. You're in Jamaica, obviously you can make it you can make it very authentically. Of the vinegar. Okay, so spices. So I'm going to stick one of the cloves. I should have put this at the bottom actually. Please put it at the bottom. Pimento. 2 cloves. Pimento. Try to get it down at the bottom if you didn't do before. I'm scooping up some of the salt. This is about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You don't need a lot. Some persons don't put any at all. This is 1 teaspoon of sugar. So I'm just going to put about half. It just balances it out. Not everyone puts sugar or salt in theirs, but I do. Some persons would never put cloves, but I do. Because I've had to adjust. Living abroad, I've had to adjust. Not everyone will have access to allspice berries, but most persons will have access to cloves. In countries where pickling is done, you definitely may find allspice berries. Okay, so let's try now with the vinegar. Normally I would do this over the sink. Don't need this anymore. Why hot vinegar? It helps with the cooking, sort of the cooking process. Let me bring this closer to you. It's warm. Look at that. Now, if you really want to, focus on the aesthetics of it, you see that? And the smell. It's hot. Yeah. So that's it. This is your Jamaican pickled pepper.